Hi, it's Adam here. And in this episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a hypnosis session that was created for a very ambitious client that wanted to increase their level of success in business, but also in physical health. And they were into things like jujitsu and cold plunges, but also learning about very innovative technology. And they wanted to be very entrepreneurial in these fast growing spaces. And this hypnosis session was really created at a time in their life where they were looking to almost reinvent themselves, establish new habits, new standards. And in the conversation before the hypnosis session, they were talking about raising the floor. And I tend to pay attention to the language that people use when there is an unconscious metaphor going on in the background. So this idea of raising the floor means raising a standard, but they used a property or a building metaphor to explain that. So what you're going to hear in this hypnosis session is me amplifying that metaphor to talk about basements, which represents almost the self-loathing, self-sabotage, or time-wasting period that many people do fall into. Leveling up means raising standards and becoming more capable. And there's this key suggestion there that the peak, the ceiling, becomes a new floor. And by phrasing it in that way, you can't maintain a standard if you've never achieved that standard before. So these peaks become new baselines to grow and evolve. And I think this hypnosis session will be very beneficial for anyone that is very ambitious, very hungry to achieve and accomplish, and understands that by raising their standards in different areas of their life, it becomes more able to achieve those results that come from those standards. So this is really a success and leveling up hypnosis session. It was created for a specific client. So some of the suggestions that relate to cold plunges or other things might not really relate and resonate with you. So just ignore any suggestions that don't quite connect with you. But this broad metaphor of leveling up, I think, will connect with a lot of people. And just think about what that would mean for you. And if you like the idea of working with me directly, rather than just listening to recordings that were created for other people, there will be a link in the description where you can schedule a free consultation call to explore what that would be like. For now, though, find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in a wonderful feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow any feelings of stress, worry, or tension to feel like it's leaving your body in that outward breath. And notice you can breathe deeper. Deeper in through your nose, breathing in that resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you release the breath, feel like you're letting go. Letting go of any sensations that feel like they're impeding you in some way. Breathing in what you need and exhaling what you don't. As you enable yourself to feel like you're drifting deeper and deeper relaxed. the deeper you breathe, the more relaxed you become. And the more relaxed you become, the deeper you breathe. That's it. And as your body relaxes, your imagination awakens. So with each breath now, allow your body to truly relax. Your thoughts begin to slow, and perhaps your awareness drifts inwards, as if you're stepping back from the outside world and into the deeper architecture of your own mind. With every exhale, you can release anything and everything that no longer needs to be held. And as your body relaxes even more, your mind becomes more receptive, more open, and more focused on what truly matters. Allow your mind to wander. And I wonder if you could imagine an impressive skyscraper, a vast, tall tower. Picture the shape, and as you look upwards, you can see it goes further and further into the sky, almost like it seems to stretch endlessly above and below. And I wonder if you could imagine that this tower represents you, every habit, but also every version of yourself. Every flaw becomes a standard, but also a level of your identity. Sometimes people will use the word leveling up, and you get a sense of what that means for you now. As you find yourself walking into an impressive reception and towards the elevators at the very center of this tower. Smooth walls, glowing buttons, and a stillness that invites reflection. Because even on the ground floor, the elevator can go up or down. Imagine glancing at the panel and notice the lower buttons are no longer labeled by number, but by feeling. And all the way down, you can see a button that represents the basement. We've all spent time in the basement, a place of avoidance, distraction, self-doubt and self-sabotage. The basement is the place where potential is ignored, doubts thrive, and comfort was mistaken for safety. And maybe you can recall a time that you spent time in that basement. This is a life living below your capabilities, your potential, and your minimum standards. And you recognize that it's always a choice. Anyone can choose to go down into the basement. But why would you choose to go into the basement when it's possible to go upwards, to level up, to raise standards? You're not going down there to the basement. In fact, imagine that you've already sealed those doors shut. The basement is no longer available. You've raised your floor. So imagine pressing the button for a level that represents your current standard, a higher floor, one you've earned, and feel the elevator rising. Each floor it passes is a reminder that you've already made so much progress in your life. You've already grown and climbed. And from this point forward, your only mission is to raise the floor higher and higher until even your worst days take place on levels once considered your peak. Because each day you raise your floor, you rise into greatness. Not by chasing peaks, but by mastering consistency. I want you to think of 3 big, important rituals. Perhaps a cold plunge. Consider these 3 significant things, non-negotiable anchors of your evolution. Discipline isn't something you have. Consider it part of your genetic code, your DNA, forged in repetition and solidified through discomfort. You don't do what's easy. You do what is necessary. Consider your floor, your base level, and it's your freedom. The higher you raise it, the more you elevate up into this building, the more unshakable and confident you become. So much so that even when motivation fades, you execute, especially then, because doing what's necessary, execution, is your identity. It's not about chasing the highs. It's about building the base. You're not interested in spending a few hours at the higher levels of the skyscraper of your life. You want to raise the minimum level. Consider yourself doing that. Climbing the elevator and exploring what it would look like to level up. Because when you no longer chase the highs, you are continually and incrementally building the base. Brick by brick, grounded and deliberate. Your base level is rising. And every cold plunge feels like a contract or a promise with your future self. You show up no matter what. In the past and in the future, You face resistance with courage, so that discomfort is the toll you gladly pay for transformation. You're earning your stripes. Old patterns may whisper, but you don't listen. That basement is sealed, and you are no longer available for self-destruction. Consider that moment of euphoria, a glimpse of your future, your potential, of who you truly are becoming. And every action you take brings that version of you closer. As you get into the elevator and raise another floor higher. Your habits are your scaffolding. They hold up the structure of your next level self. Feel how good it would feel to be consistently leveling up. Grounded action is your superpower. Doing what is necessary is so much more appealing over any fantasy, comfort, or escape. And when it's tough or unsexy, that's when you lean in. Because that's where the floor rises and greatness grows. And perhaps you can think of someone in history or in the present that you admire. A Julius Caesar or an Elon Musk. On their very worst day, they would accomplish more than many others on their very best day, because they are levels higher. And what was possible for them is equally possible for you, because this is your breakthrough year, and you're making it irreversible. Each rep, each walk, each supplement, each session is a powerful, profound message to your subconscious that you are becoming unstoppable, not through arrogance, but through momentum. You're getting yourself into a rhythm, a routine, powerful habits that transform who you are and who you are becoming. And that higher self you saw and glimpsed during your upturn is real. You are becoming them, one action at a time. And you're able to stay on track, not because it's easy, but because that's simply who you are and what you do now. And every day you stay committed. You are elevating your life, rising up in your skyscraper, making the basement not even a possibility. Imagine climbing in that elevator and rising up level after level. I want you to get a glimpse of what is possible. See maybe a few floors upwards. This time, as the observer, see your future self, not based on what you've accomplished, but based on minimum standards. Get a sense that the future version of you is someone you respect and you admire because they exude the qualities that you are mastering now. I want you to get a sense that every floor is someone else's ceiling. I want you to get a sense that every time you level up, the peak then becomes the baseline. The ceiling then becomes the floor. And I want you to imagine going all the way up to the penthouse, to the very top floor, and get a glimpse of what is possible. Perhaps far off into the future, get a glimpse of the qualities that are resonating and present in you. See those qualities that never changed. Loyalty, courage. I want you to see the things that are still there, no matter how far you level up. Some things are simply who you are at your very core. And that tells you that you always have value. And because you lean in to these values, leveling up will get easier and easier as experience collide with new capabilities. Wisdom compounds with intelligence, and get a sense that your life is heading in a wonderful direction. But notice something. Even when you think you've got to the very highest floor, I want you to see there is a secret private elevator letting you know there is no end to how much you can continue to evolve, to level up, and to progress. That a finishing line is just the starting line of a new race. The ceiling is just a new floor. The penthouse, perhaps, is a new floor to go even higher. And as you look out across the landscape of your life from this elevated view, you know this truth in every cell of your being. Your greatness is not a moment. It's a pattern, a system, a structure you live inside every day. And the basement. The basement is now just an echo of a deterrent, a place that perhaps you've been once or twice, but the doors are locked and the key has long since been thrown away. You are someone going higher and higher, and get a sense that you aren't waiting for this to happen. You are making this happen. I want you to get a sense that you're glimpsing into the future, but now to return in the elevator, not to the reception and certainly not to the basement, but to the floor that you feel that you're currently on now. Realizing how much progress there is for you. That all of the flaws between where you've been and where you are is your potential. And you are excited to unleash and unlock more of that potential. But it's time to leave this skyscraper of your life and start to bring this clarity and these raised standards with you. So take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. Start to connect and calibrate with the here and the now. As I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. You will awaken with a new sense of galvanized purpose, an excitement of doing what's necessary to raise your standards consistently. That's right, starting to count 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.